Allora, fammi vedere qui cosa è stato detto come ultima cosa. Ok, turn into the next page trying to search in even greater detail. Buono. We treated this riddle as a sort of game, and all of the servants were engrossed in it. I was just trying to be one of that group. I had long since run out of books that I could become enthusiastic about. So, out of boredom, I took that book back with me to my own room and looked through it every night. There's a hint for the epitaph's riddle in an atlas. In third game, Eva solved the riddle after reading a book in the book archive. Then in the fifth game, Frudo Erika looked for an atlas in the book archive before solving the riddle herself. Then there really is some secret in a map of Taiwan. I believe that the Sweetfish River part was code for the Tamsui River. Every day I researched the surrounding geography in detail. Of course, I also looked up several small streams that might have sweetfish in them. However, that didn't get me anywhere. According to some information from a previous game, we aren't looking for an actual river, but it was something that flowed. That's how Eva interpreted it. Not a river? Yes. In the end, Tamsui River had nothing to do with it. However, thinking about it now, it must have been a message from above after all. Tamsui River itself was unrelated, but it was still an incredible hint. The river was unrelated, but it was still a hint? Slow down and think. Think of something that flows, but isn't a river. So something other than water that flows. What comes to mind? Try to think out of the box. Will, I'm tired of all of this puzzle solving. Stop being annoying, come out with it. You've solved it, haven't you? The epitaph. Probably. What things flow other than water? What things? What things? Things being transported? Like on a road or a highway? Correct. It took me so long to realize that the Sweetfish River did not refer to water itself. That's right. There's something other than a river with the name Tamsui. Something that carries both people and things, and which flows both up and down. Both up and down? You mean... Yes. A railway. The Tamsui Line. It's a railway that goes from Taipei to Tamsui Harbor. It was opened in 1901. Afterwards, the number of stations continued to grow, and it became a major artery into Taipei. This railroad was used after the war as well as is still in common use as the Taipei Metro Tamsui Line. Its route begins at Taipei Station and continues on until the town of Tamsui. Taipei Station, Chang'an Station, old name Taishogai Station, Shuangliang Station, Tatung Company Station, Yuanshan Station, Yitan Station, old name Miyanoshita Station, Xiling Station, Shipai Station, old name. Okay. What did the epitaph say when you'd see if you went down the river? A village. There's only the one station on the Tamsui line with the character for village in its name, and that's the old name for the Shinpai station. Old name? E c'ha il kanji lì. How do you read this? The Japanese reading is Kirigan. Its name was changed to Shipai Station after the war, but when Kinzo lived there, it was Kirigan Station. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. It is not just village, you can also see a shore in the name of that station. I spent no short amount of time trying to decide whether the epitaph truly was referring to this station. It has the character for village and the character for shore. It felt like a kid's puzzle game, playing with letters. The first character in Kirigan has a for the character for mouth. The other half of the character means that, right? And the mouth could be what the two speak of is referring to. But I don't get what the two means. The three characters of Kirigan can be split into a mouth, a that, a village, and a shore. Those all feature in the epitaph. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. You can read it as a code for the name of the station. However, I don't understand the part about the two. I was also stuck on that part. However, by then I had a strong belief that this station was what the epitaph referred to. If the station had an old name, then could the place it refers to also have an old name? That's right. From the start, Kirigan Station was named after a place. And the name of that place, which was also Kirigan, is written differently, like this. There are two mouths. It was clear as soon as I looked it up. The epitaph had to be referring to this place called Kirigan. Then it is where the key of the Golden Land sleeps. Carissimo, fa una piega. That would be the obvious answer. However, I couldn't have made that long trip to Taiwan to check. And of course, the place known as Kirigan is quite large itself. If a tiny key was hidden somewhere there, I'd never find it. I was at a loss. But you didn't give up. I was certain that if I had found the answer, at least the two first. Mamma mia. I was certain that I had found the answer, at least to the first 5 lines of the epitaph. To me, this was a game. No, a mystery, more intriguing than any other. I almost gave up at that point. However, I was certain I had the key in my hand. So I decided to follow the epitaph's instruction and journey to the Golden Land. On the first twilight, sacrifice the 6 chosen by the key. We can tell by this line that the key refers to 6 things. From that fact alone, we can deduce that this doesn't refer to a physical key. 6 things? Yes, 6 things. I wasn't a very flexible thinker, so I decided to look through books for anything related to the number 6. 6. The location of the key called Kirigan was hidden by a word game. So I was convinced that the 6 things would be related to some sort of word game as well. 6. I kept searching for 6. Is there some way to split the characters of Kirigan into 6 parts? A good idea, but no matter how much you stare at those 3 characters, you won't get an answer. The problem here is that Kirigan is just the Japanese reading of the name. Then how did they pronounce it there? Boom. Chilean. It is pronounced Chilean. The English spellings is 6 letters long. 6 letters! Then it is a word game after all. Yes, on the first twilight, sacrifice the 6 letters chosen by the key. Get it. When explained like this, it sounds like the logic can be taken from beginning to end in no time at all. However, it took a long time for me to reach this spot on my own. A dizzying number of nights passed from the time Genji uttered that single word to the time I got this far. So what does it mean to sacrifice these 6 letters? On the second twilight, we start hearing about those who remain. We can deduce that the epitaph is telling us to remove 6 letters of the key from some longer word or phrase and then do something with the letters that remain. Questo mi sembra c'erano arrivati anche in episodio 6 in episodio 5. However, what could the 6 letters be removed from? I spent a long time on that as well. It was like the start of an entirely new riddle. At this time I had to solve it all by myself without any assistance. I think there was a previous game where someone, I think it was Aunt Rosa, formed some sort of theory about the first twilight. That theory focused on the 10th twilight, the home of the gold. The epitaph was used the phrase golden land 4 separate times, but the phrase home of the gold is only used that once. Why is it written that way only on the 10th twilight? It took me a long time to notice the significance of this, and just as long to discover the reason. Rosa's theory went like this. She read home, kanji, as kyo, and interpreted as kyo, which she took for the short for Kyoto. Then she reasoned that if you take a 10-day trip from the beloved hometown of Kyoto, there might be some secret at the end of the first 10th of that journey. It was a good theory, but it just missed the mark. Kyo has another meaning besides Kyoto. Kyo can mean something other than Kyoto. Don't think too hard on it. You either know it or you don't. There's another meaning of Kyo. One is not read as Kyo, but Ke. Is the name of a number. 10,000 is man, 10,000 man is oku, 10,000 oku is cho, and 10,000 cho is K. So it's a number. Here, I had a home field advantage since I lived on Rokkenjima. There was a hint that made it easier to think of the number K. In fact, you might say that I actually found the answer before I knew what the question was. Vediamo se ve lo ricordate. Questa è una cosa molto particolare che è successa in episodio 5. If you keep making it so complicated, Leon's gonna get a headache. Let's get back to the point. If you reach 1K on the 10th twilight, how far have you gotten by the first twilight? 1/10 of a K is of 1K, and 1K is 10,000 chos, so 1,000 cho? Exactly. We removed the key's chosen 6th letter from 1,000 cho. Since Chilean was written in English, I immediately guessed that 1,000 cho would also have to be written in English. 1,000 cho in English is quadrillion. As Butler guessed in the 5th game, it has 11 letters. Or should I say, as you guessed? Si vede che era Ben Castle che stava giocando Butler in quel momento. Curiously enough, the first letter is Q. The first letter of the 6th letter key is also Q. I felt that this just had to be right. Leon took a notepad from a pocket and spelled out quadrillion and Killian. The two words even looked similar at a glance. Quadrillion? You're right. The 6th letter chosen by the key are right there inside quadrillion. So what happens if we take them out? Togli la Q, togli la A, I, Leon. Senza O, giusto. We're left with the 5 remaining letters. However, the important thing is the number 5. After all, in the next part of the epitaph, the word kill appears 5 times. And then, on the 9th twilight, none shall be left alive. In other words, there should be 5 letters left. On top of that, just as Battle-san guessed in the 5th game, 2 of these letters are close to each other. The D and the R. Those must be the 2 who are close. Once you reach this spot, the riddle has been practically solved. Or, put it another way, this is as far as you can go with the epitaph alone. You might be able to figure out the answer with a little more wordplay, but you won't be able to activate the mechanism. That's right. Once you know this much, all that remains is to gouge and kill. You had a good idea of where that place was, even before you got this far, right? Yes. I suspected that the gold was hidden there even before the epitaph appeared. It was only natural to suspect that the place concealed some secret because of that mysterious phrase that appears there. What do you mean by that place? The place with the mechanism that opens the door to the Golden Land. By now, a quick-witted person should be able to figure out where to find the first twilight, where you sacrifice the 6th chosen by the key. I thought the first twilight was quadrillion, not a place. It's a place where quadrillion is written. You should know it. Or did you blindly follow Kinzo's orders and never go near it? The day the witch revived. Act 9. Siamo arrivati alla fine. C'erano i lupi. Quadrillion. There's only one place you'll find that word on Rokenjima. Gold butterflies flitted from shadow to shadow, dodging raindrops. Unless my memory is mistaken, this is probably the place. It was the chapel, the mysterious building, one of the oldest on Rokenjima, which had been built at the same time as the mansion. It was called the chapel, but not once had Kinzo used it for worship, and the members of the family had never been allowed inside. There were strict orders and none approached it without reason, and its purpose was always a mystery. However, any mystery will lose its luster after several decades. At some point, everyone forgot the chapel even existed, and that splendid building passed from the thoughts of Rokenjima's residents. Of course, this had been true for Beato as well. Beato, who hated boredom, had no desire to approach places that humans never went to. Her last memory of the place was of the time she went in there to taunt Shannon as she tried to clean. There can be no doubt. That is it. Quadrillion. Beato looked up above the door of the chapel. There was a relief displayed over an arch. English words were written there. You will be blessed only at the probability of a quadrillion to 1. So you thought that was the probability of someone solving this riddle? The chapel was built long ago. If there is a mechanism like the one I imagine, Kinzo must have prepared that epitaph riddle many decades ago. He must have been planning to use it as a ritual for choosing a fitting successor all this time. However, the ritual is now a ritual to open the door to the Golden Land and to my resurrection. When I snapped my fingers, the ground bulged and several dead trees sprouted out of it, curving and twisting like snakes. They twisted around each other to form a ladder, which leaned against the door. If my guess is right, there's some sort of mechanism in that relief. I slowly climbed the ladder. Because of the size of the door, the relief was very high up. This close up, it looks much bigger than it did from the ground. Come to think of it, whenever we cleaned the chapel, this relief was the only thing that Genji always made sure he polished himself. I always wonder why he didn't leave something so trivial to the younger servants. Immaginatevi, non lo so, Berne, sì no, non Berne, Belze, Belze, e tipo va lì con una scala, comincia a pulire e poi si apre una porta e trova 10.000 tonnellate d'oro. I thought it strange, but nothing more. The master treasured this relief, so the head servant cared for it himself. I always accepted that excuse. But now I understand there must be a trick to this relief, and Genji polished it himself to make sure that no one else accidentally found out. So from this quadrillion, I am to sacrifice the 6 letters chosen by the key. I prodded and played with the letter Q. My fingertips were soon covered in dust. However, I quickly realized that something felt strange about it. Don't tell me that this letter. No, it had to be like this. There would be no other way to offer up sacrifices. Beato grabbed a hold of the letter Q, and after experimenting with different levels of force, the letter came out with a scraping sound. Just as I thought. Here's the letter Q I pulled out. There is a wedge. No, it's a key. A key was attached to the back of the Q, and that had been stuck into a keyhole in this relief. I see. In that case, I know what to do next. Very good. This Q key is a wrong answer. Away with you. Beato carelessly tossed the Q key aside. This was the first sacrifice. She kept on pulling out the keys from the 6 letters representing the key. So a A will also be sacrificed, and both I's. Then, and then the N at the end. Now I only sacrifice one L, but unfortunately there are 2 L's here. There were 2 L's. Didn't know which I should sacrifice. I tried pulling both out, but the keys were at different shapes. So one is a right answer, the other one is a wrong answer. Well, there are only 2. If I make a mistake, I can just try the other one. Unless messing up sets off a trap that blows up the island, of course. Thinking it a waste of time to sit here worrying, I decided on the L on the right and I pulled it out. 5 letters remained in the word. And now the first twilight is over. On to the second twilight. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. The D and R are close. What does it mean to tear them apart? Do I pull them out? But if I do, there will only be 3 letters left. By this point, I was able to make a good guess at what the gouge and kill lines from the 4th twilight onwards meant. Gouge and kill probably means to turn the key and take them out. In that case, the part about going from head to leg must mean starting from the left and going to the right. If that's the case, 5 letters have to remain on the board. In other words, tear apart doesn't mean kill. If so, then we can read tear apart to mean putting a gap between the D and the R. Eh sì, vero. But how? Once again, there are two ways to do it. Do I remove the D and move it to the left? Do I remove the R and move it to the right? After pondering some time, I realized that both choices were wrong. Adesso non me lo ricordo, ma se cambia la L, prende la L, toglie questa L che adesso è evidenziata e rimette dentro quell'altra, può spostare la R nel posto della I e avere uno spazio tra ogni lettera. Vediamo se ho pensato giusto o se ho sbagliato completamente. No, that's not right. I had it wrong since I removed that L. A short while ago I removed the right of the two L's. However, if I had removed the left one, let's see, it would have looked like this. If you line it up this way, it's easy to see the next step. The R gets shifted to the right. This way, all of the letters are spread out evenly. This must be it. And this next part is another tough one. Praise my name. It's already clear that this is a word game. Those who remain shall praise my noble name. Am I supposed to do something with the remaining 5 letters? Most likely rearrange them. Lord. Però Lord. Lord. Ah, tipo Dio, Lord, oppure anche Lord Goldsmith, però la U in più, Lord, Rold, no, è Lord, però c'è una U in più. Oppure Lordo, Lurdo, vabbè. U-D-R-R-L-O. Can I do something with these 5 letters to give them some sort of meaning? Durlo. Durlo, tra l'altro, è un paesetto nelle mie vicinanze. In provincia di Vicenza. Praise my name. How can I get stuck after coming so far? How are these 5 letters supposed to praise my name? That man's name is Ushiromiya Kinzo. Is that U part of Ushiromiya? Quindi tipo Lord U? Lord Ushiromiya? Lord U? No, several letters don't match. And there aren't nearly enough letters to make Ushiromiya. One thing that is certain, my name must refer to Kinzo. Then does the U stand for the Ushiromiya after all? Like an initial. Then what to do with the D, R, L and O stand for? They can't mean Kinzo. R and O stand for Rokkenjima? The master of Rokkenjima Kinzo? Not nearly enough letters. The riddle left me totally confused. However, there were only 5 letters left. There can't be so many possible combinations of those letters. I could use process of elimination. Thinking I'd play around with it, I pulled out the U. There were 4 letters left: D, R, L and O. My idea that the U stand for Ushiromiya was like a heavenly oracle. When I removed the U, I thought of making a word with the remaining 4 letters: D, R, L and O. These 4 letters spun around in my head, changing their orders, and led me to a single English word that would serve to praise Kinzo. Lord. Lord. I had absolutely no basis for it. However, it was like a flash of inspiration. I quickly changed the letters around before that flash faded from my mind. Lord, you. L-O-R-D Lord U Ushiromiya Lord Ushiromiya. How do you like that? On the 4th twilight, gouge the head. Huh? It was a key, so I wouldn't turn it around. So it wouldn't turn if it was the wrong one. But it did turn, and I could gouge it. With a sound of scraping stone, I gouged the first letter, the L, and then pulled it out. Next, the fifth twilight. Gouge to the chest and kill. The O was gouged and pulled out easily. Then the R, then next the D, and finally the U. Madonna, non ci credo. When I turned the key of the U, I could feel a resistance as though some mechanism had been activated. I waited for something to change, but nothing did. However, I felt something happen. A secret door or something must have opened up somewhere else around here. Waiting around won't accomplish anything. I've probably done everything I can here. All of the letters in quadrillion have been removed. On the ninth twilight, the witch revives, and none shall be left alive. And now, has the witch... have I revived? On the 10th twilight, the journey ends, and you shall reach the home of gold. When I stepped down off the ladder and looked around, I immediately noticed that small change. That lion statue. At some point, the lion statue in front of the chapel had turned to face a different direction. What an elaborate mechanism. Did Kinzo plan up this extravagant device back when he first started building on this island? I walked up to the statue and stared at it. Other than the fact that it was pointing a different direction, nothing had changed. In that case, is the lion looking at something in particular now? I followed its line of sight and I saw another lion statue. And that lion statue had also changed its direction. I see. So let the lions guide you. As elaborate as ever, I see, Kinzo. I wasn't complaining anymore. I felt a bit of respect and awe at Kinzo for setting up such an intricate device, and having it go undiscovered for all these years. There were lion statues standing like guards at the entrance of the corners of the chapel. The direction they faced had changed, pointing around to the back of the chapel. There was something there. Salve, Luke. It was no longer a surprise. This was after the mechanism in the relief, after being guided by the lions. So, when a gaping open secret passageway appeared, with stairs leading down to the darkness below, it wasn't surprising to me anymore. So, this is the entrance to the Golden Land, Kinzo? Did you find it? Grandfather's gold? Yes. At the end of my long, long journey was the Golden Land. According to the previous games, there was an underground VIP room there, along with 10 tons of gold, right? Yes. After going down a rough stairway, there was a door at the end of the passage. Inside, it was beautifully furnished, a true VIP room. And was the gold all you found there? Yes, at the time. It would be a lie to say that I was not dizzied by the sight of all that gold stacked high. Is this real? I lightly touched the pile of gold with my finger. It was hard and cold. I had almost thought that it might crumble like a sandcastle if I touched it. Now there could be no doubt. This certainly was a 10-ton pile of gold ingots. Considering the amount of gold I had just found, I figured I ought to be crying out in delight. I didn't really feel like laughing, but I thought it only good manners to do so in a situation like this, so I forced it out. Because of this, only a few feeble laughs slipped from my mouth. At that moment, even stronger than any delight, was a feeling as though I'd entered a place I wasn't supposed to be. For a while, all I could do was stand there shocked, unsure what I should do now that the epitaph's riddle had been completed. Then I heard approaching footsteps. They were coming from the stairway I entered by. Someone was coming. Could it be Kinzo? If he finds out I've been in a place like this, won't I get scolded harshly? I thought about hiding and pretending this never happened, but my legs wouldn't move. I kept standing there, stunned, in front of that pile of gold, as the footsteps drew closer and closer. The door opened, and I saw who it was. It wasn't Kinzo. You. Did you reach this place by your power alone? Indeed. For some time, Genji stared at Beato in silence as though he was calculating something. Then he slowly clapped his hands together. He did it again, over and over. It took quite a long time before I realized that he was applauding me. The master has said that he will hand over the gold and the headship to the first person who solves the epitaph. And he believed that this person would be Beatrice. Me? This is fate. It is fate that brought you to this day. E anche un po' te. L'avete fatto un po' succedere questo fate, eh? I didn't really understand what Genji was saying. The shock of seeing the gold still had me paralyzed. Come this way. Okay. Genji opened a closet. Inside it was a dress form wearing a beautifully dressed made of black. Mamma mia. Inside it was a dress form wearing a beautiful dress made of black cloth and golden stitching. When I saw it, I understood immediately. It was the witch's dress, the black dress worn by the Beatrice in the portrait. Change into this. This is... It is something that you once wore. I've never worn a dress like this. However, I understood what Genji meant. This dress was one that Beatrice once wore. And the one who shows a miracle by solving the epitaph is Beatrice. By reaching this room, I had succeeded the position of the real Beatrice, the one in the portrait. Why do I call myself Beatrice? Because of the name of the golden witch who rules over Rokkenjima's night is Beatrice. That's right. I was never the real Beatrice. I was a different witch, stealing the name of the witch from Kinzo's delusions. And now I have become the real Beatrice. By solving the epitaph's riddle, I would achieve my resurrection. I was the one who decided on that rule, or so I thought. But as it turns out, this really was a ritual to resurrect Beatrice. I believed that I could create my own fate with magic. I was a master of that magic, yet fate had led me here by the hand. At this moment I was forced to truly accept and believe that this word called fate. And after I put this on, you will go to the master. Ready yourself. Wait here.
はい。
Okay.
親方様、
My lord,
源氏でございます。
it is Genji. After Genji knocked, the sound of the study door unlocking could be heard. After a single glance telling me to wait, Genji entered alone. I cannot believe that this day has come. Fate can be such a strange thing. Kumasawa was with us too. I thought this dress, which didn't really suit me, would lead to a lot of jokes, but she didn't laugh at me at all. On the contrary, when she saw me, her expression had turned stern, as though a long-awaited day had finally come. My heart raced. It wasn't supposed to matter who solved the epitaph. There shouldn't be anything strange about me solving it. Everyone else maintained solemn expressions, and that, along with everything else, made this feel like some sort of grand ceremony. The suffocating silence continued. Eventually the door opened and Genji peeked out. Please, enter. Beatrice-sama. He was saying those words to me, but not to the person I had been until a short while ago. Go ahead, Beatrice-sama. Kumasawa urged me forward with a respectful bow. Kinzo was probably waiting for me inside. What expression should I wear as I go in? How should I greet him? I don't have a clue. As the two of them motioned me forward, it was all I could do to avoid tripping over my dress as I walked. Kinzo-san. She's here. Kinzo was before the portrait of Beatrice, crouched on the ground as though kneeling. And Nanjo's words, he slowly turned around, still crouching. Kinzo's eyes were already red with crying. When he saw me, he groaned with wonder.
Beatrice.
Had he even forgotten how to stand up? He crawled over to where I was. As he called out to me with the name of the woman he had loved once long ago, I was too stunned to move. Then Kinzo grabbed the hem of my dress, gripped it tightly, then curled up and sobbed.
Beatrice. すまなかったすまなかったお前の心は分かっていたのに私は何と言うすまなかった許しておくれ許しておくれ
Beatrice, I am sorry. I am so sorry. I know how you felt, and yet I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me, I beg you. There was nothing I could say. However, just standing here like this was all I needed to do. Kinzo's moment of atonement, the moment he had spent half of his life searching for, had finally come. A human's life is packed with sin, so humans seek forgiveness while they still live. However, in most cases, there are none in this world capable of giving such forgiveness. It was like that for Kinzo. There was no longer anyone in the world who could give that to him. But a miracle had woven one together, and in this moment, he had obtained the impossible.
Oh, Beatrice! Beatrice! たとえ許してくれなくてもいい、何も言わなくてもいい。私はお前にただ一言謝れればそれでよかった。
Beatrice, Beatrice, you need not forgive me. You need not say anything. All I ever wanted was to say one word of apology. Kinzo kept grasping the dress hem and sobbing. The sins of humans are not forgiven by other people. They find forgiveness through regret and repentance. I want to believe that some sin, some fault of his, had been forgiven thanks to the way I look. Kinzo's sobbing gradually ceased, and he slowly looked up at me and rose. He staggered. Nanjo rushed forward to support him. To know that you are alive, he brings me such joy. This time his words weren't directly through me, but at me. I hesitated, unsure how I should respond. My lord, I beg your forgiveness for keeping this a secret from you all this time. No matter. I do not fault you, Genji, considering the sin that I have committed. Every single day until now had been necessary for my atonement. However, there can be no doubt that today's miracle is a true one. By her own power, without anyone's help, she solved the epitaph before anyone else. You did well to solve that convoluted epitaph. Thanks. Yes, your voice resembles your mother's. Even your face reminds me of that mother and daughter. There can be no doubt that Beatrice's blood flows through your veins. Yes, the traces of the Lady of Kuadorian in her youth are right there. Who are they saying I look like? Beatrice, Sama. Please forgive me for keeping what I am about to tell you a secret for all this time. You are a child of Beatrice, Sama, and the Master. What? It's true. You have been raised as a child without parents. However, your true father is the Master, and your true mother is Beatrice. Is that really? Yes, you truly are a descendant of Beatrice, Sama. Is such a strange fate really possible? I have dreamed about it, dreamed about what it like to be the Golden Witch Beatrice, but that dream was for me alone. So I dreamt that I've solved the epitaph and carried out its ritual. I would revive as the true Beatrice. Is it really conceivable that after I solved it, Beatrice actually did revive? I truly carry Beatrice's blood? Yes, there is no doubt of that whatsoever. It must have been hard for you to live until this day without knowing a parent's affection. And yet, look how wonderfully you've grown. So, you all knew about me? Genji, Kumasawa, and even Nanjo nodded wordlessly. Now that I think about it, that explains so many things. I was always in some way special. Genji and especially Kumasawa always treated me very kindly. Then, does that mean that this is the promised day, which would eventually have come no matter what? I don't understand anything anymore. It's all God's miracle. The promised fate has led me to this day.
Beatrice,
Beatrice. No. Leon. That is the name I wanted to give you. It is your true name. Leon, I will now return to you everything that Beatrice gave me. I return to you the gold as well as everything of the Ushiromiya family which was created by it. Kinzo stuck out a wrinkled hand. On his finger was a ring with a one-winged eagle crest, which was the symbol of the Ushiromiya family head. He pulled it off, grasped it tightly, and then held it out to me. I didn't know what to do. Slowly, as though they were being drawn forward, I held out my hands, palms up. After pressing his fist against my cupped hands, Kinzo slowly opened his hand and let the ring drop. Leon, my child, that your fate has been toyed with is a result of my sin. Please, forgive me. You now inherit my ring as the new and proper head of the Ushiromiya family. All of that gold belongs to you. I ask that you use it as you please, and hope that it will be enough to heal some small part of the pain you have suffered. That trifling amount of gold may be nothing in comparison with the sin I have committed. But even so, it should be enough to bring you some comfort. Thank you. Leon, I have one final request. What is that? Could you call me? Huh? Sorry, what did you say? Could you call me Father? I understand why you are not able to. I have not been a father to you in any way. Furthermore, you have been raised without knowing anything about your father. I realize that it's not a name you can call me by. And I realize that I have no right to ask this of you. But knowing all of that, still, I ask you, if I could just hear that, I would have no further regrets. After being asked like that, was it possible for me to refuse? Even if I am his child, I cannot see him as my father, so I felt a strong resistance to saying that word. I decided that saying it was the right thing to do. Only God can truly forgive our sins. But, though it may be temporary, people can be saved by the forgiveness of others. That awkward word made Kinzo laugh. Drops of silver fell from both of his eyes. At that moment, the shadow that covered his face was wiped away.
Arigato, Dio, wanga koyo, soshite Beatrice. 最後に許しを請う機会を与えてくれてありがとう。
Thank you, Leon, my child, and Beatrice as well. Thank you for this last chance to ask for forgiveness.
もちろんこれ式で許されたとは思いません。続きは地獄の豪華で焼かれながらとしようではないか。後ろ宮金蔵、我が生に一切の未練なし。もはや何もなし。心残りもやり残しも何もなし。
Of course. I don't believe that such a simple act will earn me forgiveness. The rest I will do as I burn in the fires of hell. I, Ushiromiya Kinzo, have no more regrets in my life. None at all. No regrets or things left undone. Looking up to the heavens, Kinzo spread his arms as though facing an applauding audience, laughing at the top of his lungs. It was the final pleasure, known only by those who have been released from all regrets of this world. Kinzo's laugh weakened, and when he disappeared, he had dropped to his knees like a puppet with his strings cut, and slowly fell to the ground. My lord. Dr. Nanjo. Yes. Though their master had fallen, they walked up to him slowly. They already knew. Kinzo's soul was had already burned itself out. After checking Kinzo's pulse, Nanjo shook his head and stood back up. It was a peaceful death. I don't think he had any regrets at all. Maybe that the master died long before now. It was only his magic and tenacity that kept him here so long. And once he finally had a chance to apologize to Beatrice-sama for everything, he finished everything he had to do. Please, rest in peace. I believe that you have redeemed yourself. That was the one-night reunion between me and my father, and also our final farewell. E la musica che si chiude perfettamente. This gold all belongs to you now. If you wish to exchange it for money, I can arrange that. I heard it's worth 20 billion yen. All of your dreams in this world can now be granted with money. It must be tough to think of what to do with this much money when it suddenly comes your way. There's nothing I desire among the things money can buy. So for the present, I would like to leave this here. Of course, I'm glad I have a lot of money. However, money can't heal the pain in my heart. I just want him to come back. As you wish. Then it shall be left here. Also, take this key. What is this? It is the key to this underground VIP room. If you use this, you won't need to use a more complicated device. She was the only one who knew the answer to the epitaph's riddle, and the only key to this place was now hers. At this point, she truly was the master of this golden VIP room. You are already the master of Rokkenjima. You have the right to know all of these island secrets. We should talk about Quadorian too. That's the mansion your mother lived in. I'm sure you've heard rumors about it. Quadorian? There are two mansions on this island, one at either end. One is the mansion we know well, the other is a hidden mansion known as Quadorian. Below this island are the remains of a military base built during the war. The master used that to travel between the two ends of the island. There is an underground path in the back of this room, and if you follow it, you will reach the basement of Quadorion on the other end of this island. That is a secret mansion which only the master knew of. Of course, that mansion, like everything else, now belongs to the new head. It is the mansion your mother lived in. It's probably worth taking a trip over there sometime. My mother? I've lived alone my whole life. The only person I ever felt like calling mother is Kumasawa-san, who also helped me out. The mansion where a mother I've never met nor seen lived. Who in the world am I? Ask any questions you wish. You now deserve to know everything. Right now I'm feeling very confused. I don't even know where I should start asking questions. But I'm sure I'll think of plenty of things to ask about. When I do, please tell me. As you wish. Also, being treated so respectfully like that, it's a bit uncomfortable. I'd be happier if you could talk to me the same way you've always done. If that is your wish, then I will do so. It's easier for me too. Well, no. What will we do now, Genji-san? Kenzo-san is dead. I will tell Kraus-sama and Madame that he had passed away. Then we must tell them that Leon-sama is the official successor to the headship. After all, from this point forward, you are the Ushiromiya family head. Me as the head? That's... Isn't Kraus-sama the successor? The one who solves the epitaph's riddle is the successor. There exists a will specifying this. The master's final order was that you were to inherit everything. Please wait. I appreciate the sentiment, but I can't do the job of being the successor. And I can't accept such a big responsibility. I think it would be better for Kraus-sama to inherit that role. Are you certain? Today I have learned who I am. Everyone knows about their parents, but I didn't since the time of my birth. And here today I finally learned the truth. That alone is enough for me. If I suddenly became the Ushiromiya family head, how would Kraus-sama react? How angry would Madame be? I don't want to become the head if it means making them feel like that. Today I learned who I am, who gave birth to me, how and when. These are things I want to learn from them as time goes by. That alone is enough. I am Leon, and I am the Golden Witch, Beatrice. Knowing that is enough for me. I don't plan on calling myself the head. Kraus-sama can take that job. Is that your order as the Ushiromiya family head? Yes. As you wish, Master. Then I will make it so. And please don't tell anyone about what happened tonight. I want to stay me. There's nothing I'd want to do if I had the Ushiromiya headship or the gold. I want to live here on this island, as I've done in the past. I want everything to be exactly the same as it was. That's my only wish. As you wish, Master. Everything that has happened tonight will not go beyond those present here. Kumasawa, Dr. Nanjo, that is the wish of the new head. If that's what you want, I have no objections. Kinzo-san will entrust everything to you. If this is what you want to do, none of us will complain. You say exactly the same as it was, but do you really mean exactly the same? With no differences at all? Yes, we'll keep this a secret. This place and the gold will be sealed away. If I need money, I'll ask you about it then. That's enough for me. As you wish. The mechanism leading to this place and the key both belong to you. And all of us swear to keep the events of this night a secret. Kraus-sama will be the successor, but in my heart, you will be the only true successor. As you have ordered, we will behave the same way we have always have, but please order us whenever it suits you. You are my only master. Thank you very much. A vast mountain of gold and the ring of the Ushiromiya family head, the dress of the portrait Beatrice, and I have become the true Beatrice, the Golden Witch, right here in my very own Golden Land. If I think about it, not much has actually changed. After all, I've always been the Golden Witch. I've just had a few more people acknowledge that. November 29th, the day I became a true witch. I am one, yet many. I am the Golden Witch, Beatrice, the true ruler of Rokkenjima, and the possessor of endless gold. Yet I am in no way complete. Here I am for the return of the one person I love. The Witch Illusion scatters e mi fermo e momento cibo un secondo. And that is the end of my tale. Oh, you're ending it there? But aren't there but aren't the next 2 years the fun part? We don't need them. After all, we've heard it in the past games about your inner conflict and how you suffered. You don't need to say anymore. You mean the conflict of the furniture with incomplete souls? There was a duel. The result had almost been decided. However, the year 1986 was incredibly merciless. I bet you curse your fate. Yes. If he had been 1 year sooner, or else 1 year later. The duel would have been settled, though in different forms. Silently, Claire hung her head. If only I had been given time. Or else, if I hadn't been given time to think and agonize. I curse everything. Why did it have to be 1986? I decided to delegate my fate. Delegate it? Like the ritual by which I inherit everything from the previous head. I decided to put myself in the hands of that fate called a miracle. May be more accurate to say that I entrusted my fate to a spin of the roulette. We, could not even decide on our own fate, so we let fate decide everything for us. Perhaps someone's efforts would be rewarded, or perhaps all would be joined and set free, or perhaps someone would be kind enough to put a stop to this lunacy. No matter which fate the roulette chose, I planned to obey its ruling. I would not resist fate. After all, whenever I had tried in the past, fate has always been heartless to me. Clara hung her head and let a single tear drop down. Humans will carelessly say that people had infinite possibilities. However, the Endless Witch knows how limited those possibilities really are. So within the limits of her fate, she tried to find the infinite. By entrusting her fate to God, she tried to find the infinite. However, this did not mean that she abandoned her fate, because she spun fate's roulette with an unshakable and certain will. A certain fate where absolutely no one could escape if the epitaph was not solved. With it, she sealed up the island, herself included. October 4th and 5th, 1986, were sealed away by an absolute and certain will, and she entrusted herself to one of the fates that could be chosen in that short span of time on that island. And now, my confession truly is over. This should be enough to find the motive for the crime. If you still do not know, I will say no more. It is not as though anyone could understand my heart anyway. Yeah, there's no need to say anymore. After watching how I wandered into a dead-end fate, Leon, do you see how great a hope you represented to me? I am a different possibility for you. The fact of your happiness makes me jealous, but to an even greater degree, it shines brightly in my eyes and makes me smile. You were a possible future. Right now, that fact is my salvation. I live with enough happiness for the both of us. I'm glad I got to meet you once, at the end. You have my thanks, Lady Bencaster. I am just carrying out your funeral. There's no need to thank me. Well, it's about time we end this. It's about time to send the dead to the land of the dead. Yes, this is my funeral after all. It is time for me to go back to where I belong. Don't make that face. And please rejoice that you are not me. After all, I rejoice in that fact as well. I live for the both of us. Thank you. Live in happiness. And someday find yourself a wonderful person. I pray that you live as a human, without awakening as a witch. That you have a whole and a single soul, and love one person with all of your strength. I hope you live your life like that. Yes. Wilson, I thank you for being an observer. You aren't the one I truly wanted to understand me, but you have saved my heart. I understand you. I don't ignore the heart. Thank you. So now that I have a splendid observer who understands me, I want to entrust my final moments to you. Are you sure? Yes. For me, the important thing is whether the person understands me, not how well I know them. The one I wanted to understand me didn't, A person with no connection to me did. There's nothing sad about it. On the contrary, the fact that a person with no relation to me was still able to understand me is a miracle that I feel grateful for. You are a good observer, and the only one who had managed to understand me. That connection is strong enough. All right. I offer my heart to you, nameless and wonderful observer. Leon, get back. What's going to happen? A mystery story can't meet its death unless the detective performs the last rites. Will just stopping your heart be enough? When you mourn the when you mourn the dearly departed, do you put just their heart into the coffin? Got it. That which was born from the earth will return to the earth. I'll return all of you to the earth. Earth to earth. Ashes to ashes. Dust to dust. Illusions to illusions. And dreams to dreams. Right. Then, let us begin. This is my burial. Whenever you're ready, let us start. In the manner of the end of my final game. Light gathered at Will's back and a sword materialized there. Slowly he drew it out. Its pitch-black tip, which could neatly slice apart truth from fiction, swung once, leaving a black trail, and then again, leaving a white trail. I'll cut the truth. I cut the truth out from fiction. Come. Following Weed's lead, a similar sword appeared in Claire's hand. Its tip glint silver, the opposite of Will's. Eccoci! First game, first twilight. 6 corpses in the gardening shed. Illusions to illusions. The corpse that cannot return to Earth returns to illusions. Shannon non era morta. Will's pitch-black slash cut across Claire's body at an angle. The blade passed through her like she was water, but its tip sent the golden flower's petals scattering. First game, second twilight. 2 corpses are close together in a locked room protected by a chain. Illusions to illusions. A chain of illusions can imprison only illusions. Canon aveva già tagliato la catenella prima. The razor-thin black blur sent golden flowers petals scattering again. First game, fourth twilight. The old head from the locked room study, confined in a scorching furnace. Illusions to illusions. Let the man of illusions go to where he belongs. Kinzo è morto nel 1982. 84, 2 anni prima. First game, first twilight. The last moments of the boy who offered his chest to a stake. Illusions to illusions. The witch and stake of illusions can pierce not but illusions. Canon non era morto. First game, 6th, 7th and 8th twilights. 3 corpses lying in the locked room of the singing girl. Illusions to illusions. Illusions are the blind girl's song. Illusions of a locked room. La stanza non era chiusa perché il colpevole era in possesso della Master Key. Cioè non era una closed room, era chiusa, ma vabbè, avete capito. Well done. Yes, you really are splendid. That was a risky game from the very start. What you have done if he insisted on seeing your face and just stepped inside. That's what it means to entrust yourself to fate. And that's the roulette you were talking about. Questo è della prima Twilight. Se George avesse insistito, se avesse spinto, non avrebbe visto il cadavere di Shannon dentro, perché non c'era. Let us continue. Second game, first Twilight. 6 with their stomachs split in the locked room chapel. Illusions to illusions. The gold truth locks the lock of illusions. La porta non era chiusa. Second game, second Twilight. Even the corpses of the two who are close cannot be close. Illusions to illusions. Illusions who have fulfilled their role do not leave a corpse. Yasu ha ucciso la personalità di Kanon, ma questo non lascia un corpo. Second game, fourth, fifth and sixth Twilights. In Natsui's locked room, none are left alive. Earth to earth. No one would dispute that a coffin is a locked room. Il colpevole, Yasu, si è uccisa insieme alle sue vittime nella stanza prima di aver chiuso la porta. Second game, seventh and eighth Twilights. The two sliced to death by the red-eyed phantom. Earth to earth, illusions to illusions. No illusion can create a corpse. Beh, erano stati uccisi semplicemente non dal fantasma di Kanon. Every time the blade passes through Claire's body, golden flower petals flew everywhere. Bit by bit, the petals covering her heart were being torn away. The witch illusion was scattering. Third game, first Twilight. 6 corpses connected by the linked locked rooms. Illusions to illusions. In a locked room ring, the end and the beginning overlap. Il primo corpo trovato, quello di Shannon, e l'ultimo corpo trovato, quello di Kanon, sono lo stesso. Third game, second Twilight. The corpses of the mother and child lie together in the rose garden. Earth to earth. No falsehoods in their final moments as told. Come è successo semplicemente senza magia. Third game, fourth, fifth and sixth Twilights. 3 corpses lying in the mansion. Earth to earth. No falsehoods in their final moments as told. Come è raccontato semplicemente senza magia. Third game, 7th and 8th Twilights. The corpses of husband and wife lie exposed under the arbor. Earth to earth. The obvious culprit wields the blade of impermanence. Impermanence. Sì. Vabbè. Eva, colpevole, li ha uccisi. Non è molto difficile quello. Fourth game, first Twilight. A massacring storm sweeps through the dining hall. Illusions to illusions. Tales woven by gold truth return to illusion. Vabbè, è tutta una farsa all'inizio. Quasi tutto episodio 4 è finzione. Fourth game, second, Twilight. The two young ones face their trials and pass away together. Illusions to illusions. Tales woven by the cold truth return to illusions. Again, i cadaveri non è che siano finti, ma la gente è morta per davvero, ma tutta la storia dietro è inventata. E non ci sono neanche locked room, robe strane, quindi non serve specificare più di così. Fourth game, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh and eighth Twilights. None of the runaways are left alive. Earth to earth, illusions to illusions. Silent corpses adorned by fiction. Il colpevole, dopo aver ucciso la sua ultima vittima, si suicida. Fourth game, ninth Twilight. And none shall be left alive. Earth to earth, illusions to illusions. Fiction locked inside a cat box becomes truth. La chiave, questo l'avevamo sistemato. La chiave per aprire la porta non è la stessa. Vabbè, ve lo ricordate. La chiave della shed dove sono bloccati dentro non è la chiave della shed, è stato solo cambiato il nome. La chiave vera è stata usata per chiudere la cosa da fuori, la saracinesca da fuori. Over and over again, Claire's body was sliced by the pitch-black sword. As proof, the chapel was now filled with golden flower petals, which danced around like gold snow. It's beautiful. Who wouldn't want their last moments to be like that? The gold snow was like confetti at the finale of a show. The curtains were finally falling on the stage that was her. Then, one final question. Sure. Aspetta un secondo. Claire slowly raised her hands. The sword she had held became golden rose petals and melted away. She stood there, arms wide, waiting for the final strike. Who am I? Illusions to illusions. The promised reaper lowers the curtains on the tale regardless of the witch's will. Non voglio ancora dare la soluzione diretta di questo, perché su questo non abbiamo avuto una conferma. The promised reaper lowers the curtains on the tale regardless of the witch's will. C'è una trappola in grado di uccidere chiunque sull'isola indipendentemente dal volere della strega. Che sia viva o che sia morta non importa. La trappola uccide senza possibilità di fuga chiunque si trovi sull'isola. The wise wing of Will's pitch black blade cleave through Claire's form. Blown away by a powerful gust of wind, her human form crumbled in an instant, becoming a storm of golden flower petals, and was torn apart. After she was blown away, a golden heart remained in midair, but it was too swallowed by the vortex of wind and broke down into flower petals. The golden vortex swirled around the chapel. Then the swirl of petals gradually scattered out of existence and vanished. A few remaining petals danced around like snowflakes, and those final vestiges decorated the chapel beautifully. A beam of light lit the center of the stage. There stood Claire, whose tale had ended. Then slowly, softly, she faced the audience and bowed. Applause spread through the theater. The long, long tale she had just finished telling was being given massive applause. It went on and on and on and on. The stage slowly sunk into the darkness of oblivion. Claire continued to bow in front of the unending applause, and as the curtain fell, she faded into the darkness. People are born with sin and live life to obtain forgiveness from someone, or perhaps they are born as mysteries and live life searching for someone to solve them. Here, all of her riddles had been solved, with no lingering regrets. People are riddles. They want someone else to solve their riddle. They live life wanting someone to solve the riddle that they are, the most difficult riddle in the world. They want someone to look at the riddle they are, and they want that person to solve it. For her, that wish has been granted. Her soul will no longer wander. Rests in eternal slumber within your cat-box coffin. Though there had been so many golden flowers petals flittering about like a blizzard, not a single one remained. Everything had become dust, vanished as though there had been nothing there in the first place, and all was silent once more. Even the sound of rain was gone. The rain must have stopped at some point. Meeting you was her salvation. I hope so. She cursed herself and her inescapable, dead-end fate and gave up. Meeting you, a happy miracle in her eyes, saved her in a way nothing else could. So, don't make that face. That was a pretty tasteful ending for you. Awao only told me to carry out the funeral. Well, I just called a facilitator, you, and let you do everything. Thank you, Will. In Claire's place, I want to thank you. Thanks for cutting off all the lingering regrets for a me of a different fate. I thought I'd see a bit more head-clutching and blind confusion from you. I understand now. I realize how happy my life has been. If fate had toyed with me, and if I was living in another world, I might have gotten stuck in the same dead end of fate. However, thanks to an extremely improbable bit of good luck, I live in this world. I now know how much that means, how much it's worth. What's up? Why this significant look? I thought decent witches didn't exist, but I might have to change that theory. Don't worry, no need to change it. I only joined that kids came to kill some time. and though I lost, I enjoyed playing. That kid died without holding up her game board. Without folding up her game board. I just took charge of cleaning up, as thanks to her for letting me play and because it's the loser's duty. I was sure you'd be a lot crueler than this. Crueler? I thought this would be a cruel game that ignores the heart. Yes, it was a cruel game. Though she claimed that the game was fantasy, I've brought you along and made it end as a mystery. The witch illusion has been spectacularly crushed, and my little bit of revenge is complete. To bring an end to this tangled tale of love with absolute and certain willpower. Out of respect for that certain willpower, the Witch of Certainty made that kid a witch for just 2 days. Even within limited span of 2 days, I've been able to enjoy an endless kaleidoscope. I won't be bestowing my favor, so no miracle will occur. However, even that ending is something that child wished for. Which truth did those endless tales settle on in the end? Who knows? We can't say for sure. That's what makes it a cat box. When you open the box, you get a tale where no trace of the mansion remains, and no one except Eva survives. And since Eva died without saying anything, all the truth is inside the cat box. Endless possibilities, all kept within a limited box. Now that I think about it, maybe the whole island where she lived and died was the Golden Land. If you call the cat box a Golden Land, that is. All of the imaginable stories that could occur within that cat box, Butler wrote them. If you can call a cat box a Golden Land, that is. And of all the imaginable stories that could occur within that cat box, Butler wrote the most enjoyable. You mean the book in Beatrice's coffin? That's right. It's the happiest possible tale for her, which he thought up himself. It was a really fun, love-filled, happy tale. I also think that tale was the most fitting to put in her coffin. No, that's wrong. Huh? You heard Claire. You are her hope and her salvation. More than anything else, it's you living on in happiness that will be her salvation. Right. Live happily. That's all you need to do to be that kid's miracle. Yes, and live happily enough for the both of us. I'm surprised you found this kid. Didn't you have to search through about 2 million of them in that vast sea? Such trivialities are all I'm capable of. And now, the funeral is over. As promised, I've released the barrier. Once you leave, time will start moving again like normal. So you're done with us now. If you don't get back quickly... Now, if I don't get back quickly, Diana will start scratching the curtains. We weren't together for long, but thank you for your help. So long. Be happy, for the sake of the millions of other yous. When he left the chapel, a beautiful after-rain sky stretched out above him. That sky, which was a mix of rain clouds, gaps of sunlight, and the tint of twilight, had a beauty had a beauty to it that couldn't be described in words. Will slowly descended the stone stairs, stepping in the puddles. Then he waved without looking back and left the chapel behind. His form and footprints gradually faded away until there was no trace left. Okay, time for me to disappear too. Goodbye, Leon. I have to thank you as well. I believe I said some fairly inconsiderate things to you. You have my apologies. You taught me something very important. What is it? No, it's nothing. It's been a century since anyone thanked me, so I wasn't sure how to respond. Bernkastel shrugged and then floated up into the air. Then she looked up at the beautiful 7 colors of light shining through the stained glass, and spoke as though someone was looking down on her from there. Oh, Aurora, was that enough of an answer check for you? If you still don't get it, why not gather the other observer witches and have a tea party of something? Then you can listen to their theories. I mean, so I won't give any more. So I won't give any more hints than this. There are no witches who don't think. After all, witches who don't think either die or turn to seaweed. Now, it's time to go back and have a drink while discussing how much of your theory was right. I'm tired of playing the part of the bad guy and of being Umineko. You're done with me now. Bye, Leon. And bye to you too, observer witches. Bernkastel burst and disappeared. A single gold flower petal glittered. Leon picked it up. It was the only trace of a miracle that remained in this chapel. At that time, cheery voices could suddenly be heard. It was the relatives. They came out of the waiting room one by one. So this is where you were, Leon. I was looking for you. Mother, my apologies. I was just thinking about something. Looks like the rain finally stopped. Finally some good weather. Everyone, let us return to the mansion. I have been told that Beatrice's funeral is over. Father, where's the head? He'll be here in a sec. Today was pretty crazy. Playing along with Dad's little funeral show was a real pain. You shouldn't say that. It was a very important ceremony. That's right. I think it was very important for Father. I'm starving. Goda-san, think you could cook up something for us? Yes, ma'am. I'll prepare some tea at once. Where is Leon? Lend me a hand. Oh, family head. There you are. As Kinzo came out after the others, Leon ran up to him. You did very well today. Beatrice's funeral is now complete. Yes, and I'm sure that Beatrice's soul was saved. How could you know that? I was with Beatrice until a second ago, and I saw her leave on her journey with no regrets. That's how I know. I guarantee it. I see. If you say it, then it must be so. The relatives left the chapel one by one. Leon left too, giving Kinzo a shoulder to lean on. A beam of sunlight peeked through the clouds, looking like a staircase leading up to heaven.